Hello, come on into the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. I'm Leona, and this morning we're in the kitchen. It's Saturday, and we're going to do a little bit of preparation for next week's Super Bowl. And I thought, why wait until the last minute? I've got room in the freezer, so I'm going to do a little bit of a little cooking to get ready for that. I'm going to put some things into the freezer. And then that way, Friday or Saturday morning, I can certainly take the freezer items out. And then I'll be able to have them ready for Super Bowl. So today we're going to put together a white chicken chili. And I love it. And it's such a fun recipe that you're going to want to go out, pick up these few little items because it's not one of those recipes that you have to do so many things to. So come on in, get a chair, pull up. This is going to be some fun, and we're going to get it done. And while we're working on that, we're going to talk about a few changes that I'm going to be making right here in the kitchen with some of my cooking techniques, because what I'm learning is that we have to be very careful about what we put into our food. So what I'm doing first is just turning the stove on so that my pot can get nice and hot, because we want to keep this surface stick free. And in order to do that, we're going to want to warm the pan first. Now, I'm going to be adding a little bit of olive oil. I'm using olive oil, yes, in my white chicken chili. And the reason for that is because of the fact that it's a good oil. And I mean, we want to make sure that the things that we're putting into our bodies and our families' bodies, that they're healthy. I thought about the fact that when we're young and our bodies are what I'll call near perfect, then we don't have to worry about all of this as much. That's what I thought. But now I know that I should have started doing these kind of things way back then, so that now I wouldn't have to make all these corrections. It would just be a matter of routine, and we would be ready to go. Now, my pan is warm. I'm going to add in a drizzle of olive oil, and that's just to get everything started. So another thing that I learned is that we've got to be very careful with two items. And I remember back in the time when they were talking about the white stuff, eliminating the white stuff. And they're still talking about that. So don't get it twisted. Now I'm going to put in here real quick while we're talking. I'm going to put in some celery, and I'm also going to put in some onion. Now, my onion, I prepped a while back and put it in the freezer. So I already had it. It's good to go. And my celery is already sliced, had that already done, because that's the nice thing. When you come back from the grocery store, be sure to prep. Do some of your prep work if you have time, of course. You're going to want to prep your vegetables. So I've got my celery and onions in there. We're going to give them a little time to cook. Now, what I am going to do is that I'm going to add in some of my basic house seasoning. And I'm using the basic house seasoning. Where's my spoon? Using my basic house seasoning because there are some things in my kicked up version that I don't want in my white chicken chili. Now, I do not have any white pepper. So for that reason, I'm just using basic black pepper. I'm going to put in about a teaspoon. And this basic seasoning is pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. Those three equal amounts. And let me tell you, it works. And if you think you need just a little extra, then of course you can do that. Or you can add in, say for instance, you wanted to have a little more garlicky flavor, then you can add extra garlic. But this is the basic seasoning mix. And I keep it right here in my pasta sauce jar, which I love. And so we're just going to give all of this a good stir. I'm glad you all were able to come by today. You know, it's always a lot of fun to get to talk and to chit chat and have everybody here in the kitchen while we're cooking. It just makes cooking more fun. So I'm glad to see you and glad that everyone is wide awake. And some of you have been up a while, and you might want to talk a little bit about that, because I know some of you are on in a different time zone. All righty. Yes, I got the boss this morning. I needed coffee. It is 11 degrees outside. So because of that, I thought, whoo, I need something hot to get it going. Now, this particular recipe is one, I could have done it in the crock pot, but I just didn't do it. Didn't do it today. I thought, you know, I'm going to fix it for you. We're going to do it right here while we chit chat, and it's going to come together quickly. Now, the onions and the celery are simmering. They've gotten clear. So what we're going to do is that we're going to add, this is my jar of Pace Picante sauce. And you'll see it, it doesn't have to be this brand. And this one is medium as far as the heat. And this is a 24-ounce jar. Now I'm going to start out with about half and see where it takes me. And if I need the whole thing, then I'll go back and add it. But for now, we're going to start with half a jar that we're going to put in. So I'm going to turn this down and keep it simmering. We'll put in about half the jar. Yep, that's good. Oh, it smells wonderful. Now, the reason for doing that is because of the fact it has all the peppers, has all the things that normally I have a much longer recipe where you have to roast the peppers and do all of that. And it's a little time consuming. And let's face it, we want easy weeknight meals or weekend meals, whichever the case is. All right, we've got the celery and the onions. We've got a half a jar of our picante sauce. All right, if you have one of those little small jars of salsa, throw it in because it has the seasonings you want. Now, I'm also going to add in 2 cans of diced green chilies. We're going to add that in. So let's get that going. This one's a little big. I don't know if I'll need both of them. But we'll start here with our green chilies. Get that stirred up because we want it to have flavor. Now let me tell you what I'm not doing. In my basic seasoning, I did not add any salt because those 2 white things we were talking about, that when you're having problems with some of your health conditions, salt is almost at the top of the list. And sugar is the second item. You know, I have found I can survive, I think, without salt, without a lot of salt. But I have a problem. Hear me. I have a problem with sugar. I love things that are sweet. Not everything, but quite a bit though. And it just calls me. Okay, so we've got all of our stuff in there is nice and simmering. We'll let that go. And I have 3 cans of Great Northern beans. And just depending upon what store you go to, it may be, they may say navy beans. You may have some already prepared that's in your freezer. Mine are gone. So I'm going to go over to the sink and I am going to pour off some of the liquid. I don't want to pour out all of it, but we're going to pour some of that liquid off. We want some of the starch because the starch is going to help to bring that soup together. Now we're going to be adding some little extra things that's going to help to thicken it up. But let me get this. I'm going to take these over and I'm going to put these in the pan. Okay, that's 2 cans in. And let me get the 3rd can. All right. Now, when you're using any type of canned or jarred item, most of the time they have a certain amount of salt. So that's the reason why we're being a little cautious here, just a bit cautious, so that we can add the salt to our liking. Okay, there we go. We've got the beans in, and just a little bit of drainage. I'll add that in. And let me give all this a good stir. Okay. Now, you know, because we have beans, beans will stick very easily. So we have to be careful with the temperature that we're setting our pot to, so that nothing sticks, and we want to keep it moving, you know, keep things moving. All right, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, we might need some of that other, some of the other picante sauce. Now, I have some chili seasoning I'm going to add in, and this I purposely did not put anywhere else because I didn't want it in the basic seasoning. This is something I want to be able to add myself. All right, so I've got a tablespoon, and I'm going to say 2 tablespoons of chili powder. 2 tablespoons of chili powder. Okay, so we're going to give all of that a good stir. And at this point, it's not as white as you would like for it to be, but it will be by the time we finish. So I see that, let me see, let me come over. Yes, Deb, we do. We have Wisconsin temperatures, but I think you all are even a little colder than we are. Jan says that they're looking forward to a spring-like weekend in the Black Hills. Highs in the 40s and the 50s. Oh my goodness. That's where we're going to be next weekend. We're supposed to be in the 60s next weekend. Can you believe that? Go from 12 degrees to 60 in just a matter of a few days. It's amazing. Weather is amazing. Okay, now I'm going to get a spoon and give this just a little bit of a taste, because I know we still have a few things to add. Ooh, that's good. I don't think I'm gonna need a second green chili. Okay, now, excuse me. I have a rotisserie chicken that I purchased from Costco. Got my shears. I deboned it, and I'm going to take some of that chicken and I'm going to start cutting it up into our soup. I love using my cooking shears for these kind of things. So we're just going to cut up our chicken. Now, you know, the good thing about this is that the longer it simmers, the better it's going to be. Now, we still have some liquid that we need to put in. Now, I've got some chicken broth. I made chicken broth with the carcass of the rotisserie chicken. So that's going to be good. So we're going to be adding that, 1 quart of that, to our mixture. And if you don't have homemade broth, that's okay. You just use a box and add in about a quart of your chicken stock or broth, whichever you choose. Now when you're adding those kind of things, you want to keep in mind that some of those products are a little salty. So that's the other reason why I have not added any salt whatsoever, because I know that some of the products that are going to go in this chili are just a little bit salty. So I'm going to add in, I'm hoping, about half of my rotisserie chicken. So we're using our shears and just cutting it up, putting it right in, cubing it right here. Sometimes I just toss it in and cut it right here in the pot, but not today. We're going to make sure we have this cut at a certain size where it's easy for adults and children. And let me say, this particular Pace Picante sauce, when it says medium, it does have a little bit of heat. So you want to be careful with that, especially if you have little ones. Be mindful. Taste it before you use it so that you can adjust your seasonings. And you can buy it mild. You know, you don't have to have it spicy. But if you have people in your household who like spicy, then certainly they can kick it up. And Pace even has a hot. Whew, I can't do the hot. So we're going to, okay. Now I'm going to let you see this before I start adding liquids to it. Let me come and get you. All right, so here we go. We got it here. And you can see that it is very chunky. Very, very, very chunky. And so now we're going to start to add some of that homemade chicken stock. So let me pull that out of the refrigerator. So here's one of the containers of chicken stock. I think I have more than enough chicken. Like I said, I used, and you can see where I got a little fat on top. Well, if I wasn't trying to be somewhat healthy, I would go ahead and just toss it all in there. But I'm going to take the fat off because we're trying to watch our waistlines along with our blood pressure and everything else. Okay. So my stock is nice and congealed. I love it. So we're going to pour 1 quart in. Let me get all of that goodness out of there. Get it all in. And toss this in the sink for later. We're going to get this all mixed up. And as this gets hot, it's going to all come together. Oh, yeah. It's liquefying as we speak. Let me try to bring you in and get you down where you can see everything. All right, there we go. Now you can see now we've got more of a soup. Now I'm going to let this come to temperature because I want to be able to, I'm going to add something toward the end, and I don't want that to cook too long. We're going to add some sour cream to this, and that's going to bring out that white part of the chicken chili. And I'm looking at this thinking, okay, I need a little more chicken. So we're gonna dice it up. And you know, how much chicken you put in is really up to you. I look at the balance of what I have and how much chicken is in there. And you know, I like my soup to be very meaty. If it's supposed to be a meaty soup or a meat type soup, anyway. And the big guy likes the soup. He wants all the broth. So I hit it in the middle, and then we're both happy. Okay, let's see how we're doing here. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now we're gonna let that come up to a simmer. Oh, this is gonna be so good. Let me get my spoon. Go down in there and see how we're doing. Oh, it's good. It's good. Now, you raise you just a bit. There we go. So I can see you. Hey, how are you, ladies? I'm so glad you're here. This is great. I thought, you know, don't wait till the last minute for Super Bowl. Get a few things done in advance so that when it's time to sit down to that game, you're sitting down too. You're not running around trying to get things done, trying to pull things out. You're not spending the day before trying to do all the cooking and all those things. We're going to have our stuff done. So we usually have some type of chili, some type of soup. We'll say soup. These rotisserie chickens at Costco were only $4.99. $4.99. I bought a couple. And you know what? I think today I'm going to go back and pick up a couple more so that I can put them in the freezer. Now, all right, here's where we go. I'm going to add a little bit more. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of that jar of the Pace Picante sauce in. All right, give all of that a good stir. Now, if you can't handle, let me say it again, can't handle a lot of heat, if that bothers your tummy, then get mild. Get the mild. And but the nice thing about the Pace is that it's going to add all the peppery flavors that you want. So here we've got all of that going, and it's going to take its time. I don't want to turn it up too high because I don't want it to stick. There we go. Turned up just a little bit so it can really get good and hot. Now, like I said, we have been working on recipes. One of my subscribers asked last week if I would help her find recipes for heart-healthy meals. And I told her I would. So I've been working on that so that not just for her, but all of us. And you know, what I found with these healthy meals is that there's good variety, and certainly you're using a lot of your seasonings that maybe you don't use all the time, but you're going to start using those in place of the extra salt and in place of sugar. Now, that's not to say that you may not put a pinch of salt in, because certainly you need just a pinch. But, you know, by the time we add up all the salt throughout the day, we are probably 5 to 10 times over the amount of salt that we should really have. And so, in fact, I was reading in the Heart Association, and they were saying that the average American has probably almost 90% of Americans use way too much salt. And that is part of what's contributing to a high amount of heart disease as well as diabetes. And so we just have to be careful. We have to be careful. I'm reading Sue. Sue said that the cost of rotisserie chicken is often less than raw chicken, and it's worth a try. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It depends on where you get it. And Costco is wonderful about keeping the cost of the rotisserie chickens down so that you can buy multiples. And I usually pick up at least 2 at a time. And, you know, $4.99. I went to the grocery store the other day, and I went to Walmart. There was not a chicken in the bin, whole chicken, that was less than $7. Not one. And we're talking about little teeny tiny things. Not one was less than $7. So I felt like the rotisserie chickens was a real deal. And check your Costco out if you happen to have Costco membership. I know somebody who does. Then ask them to please pick up a couple of those for me, because we want those. And you know, the good thing is that you can use them in your casseroles. I mean, just think of all of the ways that you can use that already pre-cooked chicken. Then that will save you so much time. So we're going to try to save ourselves as much cooking time as we possibly can, but we want our food to be good. Now, remember too, when you get those rotisserie chickens, do not throw out the bones. Do not throw out the skin, in case you're not going to use the skin in whatever it is. Good morning. Come on in, have a seat. Do not throw those kind of things away. Those are the things that you're going to put into your Ziploc bags. Put them in your freezer. When you get enough of it, throw it into a pot or a crock pot, and make yourself some broth. Onions, carrots, celery, and a little bit of seasoning. Throw those, no salt, throw those the carcasses in, cover them up, and let them simmer. I simmered mine for about 3 hours, at least 3. And then it took about another hour for it to cool off. Put it into some containers and had it ready and in the freezer. So when I need broth, then I know I can go and get what I need very quickly. Have my broth, have homemade broth. I don't have to depend on the box stuff. You know, I had it just in case I needed more. But the good news is that I think we're going to do quite well right here. Now I'm looking at this, trying to bring it up. Oh, there we go. Okay. See if I can. I really want this to come to a good boil first. Bring it up to a boil, then cut it back. Then cut it back and let it simmer. But you want to make sure that you've got a good boil on. The nice thing about using canned beans, or if you have some pre-prepared beans that maybe you cooked during the week, you had white beans during the week, or pinto beans during the week, then you got the startings of white chicken chili. And using the chicken, beef was another thing that the Heart Association said that we should limit ourselves with. Don't eat a lot of beef. And it was beef and mutton. Not that I have mutton ever, but we want to make sure that we have the nutrition for our family that we need. So I'm just giving all this a good stir. No salt because, let's see, Pace has, see if I can do this without the glasses. Pace has 250 milligrams per serving. So we don't need any more salt because this is already taking care of it. Now, what I am going to do with this while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to put just a little bit of water in here and then put it in here because I don't want to waste any. All right, just enough. I'm going to give it a shake. All right, there we go. Everything is out of the jar. And that's what you always want to do. Anytime you have any, particularly tomato products, you always want to make sure that you get all of your tomato out of your jar or your can. Charlene is saying that homemade broth is so much better than the box or the canned broth. Yes, it does. It has a lot of salt. And, so in that case, when we have our own homemade, we're saving time and we're saving dollars because we pay that $4.99 and we want to get as much out of that $4.99 as we can. So with my rotisserie chicken, I am going to have actually 2 meals out of that chicken. Now that depends on the size of your family. If you have a family that's pretty large, like Duncan family of 6, you probably, Tam, won't be able to get 2 full recipes out of 1 chicken because you've got people that you need to feed. But, for those of us who have smaller households, then we're going to probably be able to get 2 full recipes out of a chicken. And so that $4.99 is well worth it. You figure 2 recipes and fresh chicken broth. And so that's a good thing. All of that is good. So here we have, it's getting nice and hot. I'm going to give it a taste just so I know where it is. Oh. That is delicious. All right, I'm gonna throw this chicken back in the refrigerator and get our surprise addition that's going in. All right, our white chicken chili. I've got this to where it's nice and warm, and I'm going to cut it back because I am going to let this simmer on the stove for a while. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add some sour cream. Sour cream. Don't add the sour cream until you know that your soup is starting to get a little bit of a bubble. And the reason for this, because you don't want it to break. And at this point, I will not heat it to a high point because unfortunately what happens is that sour cream, we want it to do its job. We want it to add that creaminess. Now, some people add cream cheese. I've seen that, but I kind of like the flavor of the sour cream. So I'm going to get a clean spoon or a spatula. Okay, got a spatula. And I'm going to add in about this is probably about a half cup of sour cream to start with. And there's our cup. So we've got a cup of sour cream. The sour cream is going to add just a little bit of tang, and it's also going to tone down some of the spiciness of that paste. and it's going to bring your soup to that light color that you like and what you're used to seeing. There we go. I'm going to get that all stirred up. I'm going to put this down on 2. It'll take a minute for it to start to melt. And it's just going to lighten up. You'll be able to see how the color will change. It goes from that deep red. And as I'm stirring, what else is happening is that the chicken is breaking up. You know, I cut it, but I didn't necessarily dice it very small, but I made sure that when I cut it, that I cut it across the grain so that as I stirred, it would break the chicken up. Oh yeah, that's what we want. Oh, this is pretty. A nice, almost pinky color. This is going to be great. It's going to be hard keeping the big guy out of this. It may not make it to Super Bowl. I may have to do another one during the week. You know, sometimes that happens. What can I say? You know, they like what they like. But this is a nice size pot and will feed lots of mouths. Oh, yeah. Now, I'm going to throw this spatula in there, give it a little shake. I want all of my sour cream to be in there. Okay, so that's in, and all of that in. I have my tasting spoon under here. So we're going to get ready. Notice I have not added any white stuff. That's perfect. And the sour cream really did calm down a little of calm down the heat. And at this point, you can decide, you know, what you want to serve with this. Now, for a few minutes, I'm going to put the top on it and just let it do a little bit of simmering. And you know, if you're planning to eat it today, then you're going to want to put it on your lowest temperature and let it sit right there for a couple hours, and it'll be wonderful. Or not. And hello, Ronnie. I see you. Good. I'm looking at Tam's comment where we were talking about the number of people in her family, and she said her rascals are growing. And I know how that is. Well, you saw last week my long-legged grandson. We were laughing, and girl, he can eat you under the table. Oh my goodness, he can put some food away. And so I love it. I love it. And he just smiles, you know, as he's eating. He's a little happy camper. And those biscuits that we made, there were none left by the time he left, because every time I looked up, he was walking into the kitchen and grabbing a couple in his hand, and then off he'd go and disappear to wherever he was, whatever it was he was doing. We had such a good time last week. We played games, and we watched movies, and we just had a great weekend. You know, that's always a lot of fun. And such a blessing when you can sit down with your family or with your grands and spend that kind of time. And so I love when they're here because they are pretty busy, and they have a lot going on, and I do too. And so we try to coordinate the calendars as much as possible and put them all in. So I had emptied the dishwasher because I knew we were going to need to put some things away. So I'm just putting those away while our soup is simmering, and it gives us a chance to chit chat. So like I said, I did find out about the salt and the sugar. And the salt part I can handle without a problem. It's the sugar part that is going to be hard. And one thing about that sugar is that not only do we want to cut back on the sugar, but we want to totally cut out the Splenda or the Equal or whatever it is that, you know, some of our diet drinks. I love Diet Coke. And that is typically my choice when I'm going out or having a soft drink. I want that Diet Coke. And that's usually what I buy. But what I found is that it's actually harder on the body and causes your body to react and respond in a way that's even greater than having regular sugar. So you're better off having just plain old sugar rather than using the replacements. So we're not going to use those. We're going to try to, if we have to sweeten or if we want to sweeten or whatever it is, we're going to think moderation, use moderation, and we're going to put the Splenda and the Equal away. That's going to be hard. Oh, yeah, Charlene, that you are absolutely right. Hello, Farmista. You're coming in. Oh, you had to run an errand. That's okay. That's okay. You know, you're always right on time. Right on time. We are, our white chicken chili is simmering. And it's getting nice and hot. I got my tasting spoon here. I got a little bowl for me because we're going to have to taste this before we leave today. We got to know what it's going to taste like. And so I am just picking up a few things, going to wipe off the counter so that things are clean, because I want you to also be able to experience the soup as well. So I hope you guys are having fun and you got great plans for Saturday. I am. Oh yeah, this is what we want. Just a little low simmer. I'm gonna bring it in so maybe you can see the simmer. See if I can get you down there. See that little bubbling that's going on in there? That's what you want, low and slow. A low and slow bubble, because we've added that sour cream, and we do not want to mess that up. Now, you know, somebody had asked the question if we could freeze this with the sour cream. The answer is yes, you can. Do you want to? Now, here's your choice. Sour cream, you can freeze, but the texture is going to be different. It's going to come out not quite as creamy. It's going to have a little bit, it's going to be a little more chunky and a little more gritty. That's what I'm looking for. It's going to be a little more gritty. So we're going to try not to do that. So I'm going to put this where it's going to be nice and ice cold. And oh yeah, this is going to be good. Let's see. Jan said she went off sugar a year or so ago. The first few days were hard, but then her body got used to it. So she uses stevia. I like stevia. And if she wants something sweet. Farmisa said her littles and they're headed to a local craft group at noon, and that's their excitement for the day. Oh, that sounds so like a lot of fun. Farmista. All right. Well, I am determined. I am going to work on that sugar habit. And that's exactly what it is. It's a sugar habit. And there are just certain things that I like. And I'm trying to work out, the issue with using the sugar. If I'm going to use it, I'm only going to use it maybe once a month or once every couple of months. Or the big guy's just going to have to buy whatever it is he wants that is sweet. And I am going to have my no sugar option. So, which is typically fruit. Now, let's get a dipper. It's time to do the big taste, guys. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Since I haven't had breakfast, this is going to be my breakfast. Wipe this off. Got it wiped off. And it's going to be good. Let's go over here so we can sit down and chit chat. Oh, yum. You're making some homemade Philly cheesesteak. Yum. And potatoes for your homeless today. You do it every Saturday. Oh, that's wonderful. I love that. I like doing those kinds of things. And I hated when COVID came through, because the organization that we went through to do the cooking and prep for them had to close. Now, it's not that the people weren't there, but it had to close. And so they were doing things kind of in-house. And this white chicken chili, chili period. I made chili for, we have a group that is called the Virginia Housing Association. And so our church does it at least once or twice a month. And so for a while, I did all the cooking. And so, which was really a lot of fun. And I loved it. Oh, man. This really is good. And I'm telling you, you saw how easy it came together. You can have this on the table for your family. And like I said, especially I'm thinking of Tam and some of you who have little people, or you're cooking for a group that may have seniors and may have delicate stomachs. Then buy mild picante. And if you're going to make a big batch, then at the stores you can find the picante sauce in big gallon sizes versus the little small bottle like I got. This is delicious. Oh, you're so sweet, Charlene. Absolutely. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. And you saw, quick, easy. Now, guys, some of the recipes that we're going to be working on over probably the next month or so, I'm testing recipes that are going into the cookbook. And the cookbook, God willing, the cookbook will be ready by summer. And I will keep you posted. But we're going to be adding to that cookbook. It's already started. And with things that we've already done, that's already on the channel, as well as some additional things that I'm adding to it. Mm, this is so good. I promise you, this is not going to make it to Super Bowl because I'm going to let the big guy taste it. He's he's my test dummy. So I'm going to let him taste it and see if he likes it. If he likes it, then I know everybody else will. Absolutely, absolutely. There will be an author signed copy. Now, what I do is to put it into some good containers, let it cool, and then put it in the farthest section in the back of your refrigerator. And when you do that, it'll be fine. It will be fine for next Sunday. And of course, I'm doing it a little bit early because I already know I'm going to have to make some more for next week. But I didn't want to wait until next Saturday to do it because then you guys wouldn't have the supplies that you needed should you want to do it for Super Bowl. So I needed to do it a week in advance. Now, under normal circumstances, if you were going to fix this, then what I would do, and you know you're going to freeze it. If you know you're going to freeze it, then leave out the sour cream until you're warming it back up, and then put the sour cream in as it gets warm. And then that's a great way. You don't have to worry about the sour cream changing textures. Just add it at the end. And this is going to be great. So you got my Super Bowl recipe early. So I will add the whole recipe down in the description box so that you will have it and you can go out. This was a very reasonable dish. And, you know, when I have a ton of people coming, then I'll do multiple slow cookers. And you've seen me set up a buffet. So I'll have about 3 slow cookers, and one will have chicken chili or maybe one will have chicken chili, one will have regular chili, and sometimes I even do chicken chili and a vegetarian chili. And then that way there are choices. So everybody can have chili, but if they have any type of sensitivities, then I'm trying to take that into consideration. So this is good. And you saw how quickly it came together. So this is a great way because we don't have to cook the chicken. The chicken was already done. And, you know, you can find rotisserie chickens at just about any grocery store. So if you can't get to Costco, then now I can tell you, I already know. I went to Kroger and I went to Publix. All of those have rotisserie chickens. None of them had a $4.99 rotisserie chicken. So I'm telling you, get there quick and get your chickens because you're going to want to be able to catch that deal. And we want to be able to serve good things for our family. Oh, God. I know you guys have to get ready for your families and do all the fun things that everybody does on a Saturday. But I want you to have an absolutely amazing Saturday. And keep this in mind. Work ahead, get as many things done, because there's a lot of food going on for Super Bowl between the dips and the chips and the soups and the wings. And we're going to have some wings, and we're going to put those together. I think I'm going to do those next Saturday. And we're going to do chicken wings for a crowd. And so we're going to have all of that ready to go. So we're getting it ready. Super, Super Bowl, here we come. We're going to be ready to go. Guys, God bless each of you. Have a wonderful day and stay warm for those who aren't lucky enough. We got one person up there who she's got a heat wave going with 40s and 50s, but the rest of us are freezing our little contusions off. So we want to make sure that we are all safe. And I hope none of you had to deal with that crazy ice that was out there. And some got ice, some got snow. And quite a few of us got those frigid temperatures. So let's have a wonderful time this weekend and enjoy your family. Do something fun and something different. God bless you. Mwah. Have fun.